diagram, then what happened here? The contraction takes place of the diaphragm here, the contraction of the diaphragm, and next one external intracostal muscles between the ribs. Then what happened? So ribs and sternum raised. So due to the sternum and the ribs raised, then what happened? Sir, increase the pulmonary volume. Increase the pulmonary volume and decrease intrapulmonary pressure. Intrapulmonary pressure inside the lungs less than atmospheric air. Then what happened? Automatically, so the atmospheric air, so outside the atmospheric air enters, move into the lungs. So this is the inspiration, right? Whereas in the expiration, so this is the most important, expiration. So expiration, release of air to the exterior, means to the atmosphere. It is a passive process. So here the very important is opposite to the inspiration. In the inspiration, contraction, but here relaxation of diaphragm muscles and external intercostal muscles. Right? Decrease the volume of thoracic anteriorly, posteriorly, and ventrally and dorsally. Then what happened? Automatically decrease the pulmonary pressure inside the lungs. So here, then what happened? So due to this reason, so the increase the intrapulmonary pressure to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, causing the expulsion of air from the lungs. Expression from the lungs. Whenever you see the diagram B, sir, here the contraction, right? Here in the diagram A, the contraction of the diaphragm muscles and the external intercostal muscles. But here in the diagram B, sir, there is the very important in the diagram A. We are observed this is the diaphragm which shaped flat. But here in the diagram, in the B diagram, this is the inspiration diagram. In what happens, sir, the diaphragm goes to the upward. Yes, upward, dome shaped. So here, the very important, sir, decrease the volume of thoracic anteriorly, posteriorly, and dorsally, ventrally. Automatically decrease the pulmonary pressure. So this is leads and increasing the intrapulmonary pressure inside the lungs to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, right? Causing the expulsion of air from the lungs. So here ribs and sternum raised, but here relaxation of the diaphragm muscles and the external intercostal muscles, ribs and sternum return to the original position. So automatically the intrapulmonary pressure is increased due to this reason. So then what happened? Atmospheric air causing to the expulsion of air from the lungs. So this is about expiration. So right, expiration. And next one, sir, here the today topic is the very important topic for the 4 marks questions and 2 marks question in the IPE level. Right, respiratory volumes and capacities. 4 marks question and 2 marks question, very important. Sir, tidal volume. So tidal volume is the 2 marks question. Right, what is tidal volume? First of all, we will discuss about the only volumes, respiratory volumes, then after capacities. Right. So here the volume of air inhaled or exhaled during normal inspiration or normal expiration. Okay, sir, what is tidal volume? TV, tidal volume. Sir, the volume of air inhaled, or exhaled during the normal inspiration or expiration. That is called a tidal volume. So it is approximately 500 ml. 500 ml. Okay. A healthy man can inhale or exhale approximately 6,000 to 8,000 ml per minute. Per minute. This is the tidal volume. 2 marks question. Very important in the IPE. Right. And next one, sir, this is the IRV. What is IRV? Inspiratory reserve value. Inspiratory reserve value. Inspiratory reserve value. Sir, here additional volume of air. Additional volume of air that can be inhaled. Additional volume of air that can be inhaled during the forced inspiration. During the forced inspiration, right? Inspiratory reserve value, forced inspiration. Additional volume of air that can be inhaled during the forced inspiration. That is called IRV, inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, reserve volume, right? 2,500 to 3,000 ml. So the volumes are very important. Okay, first one is the tidal volume and the second one is the inspiratory volume. So the volume of air inhale or exhale during the normal inspiration or expiration, it is called a tidal volume. So additional volume of air that can be inhaled, inhaled during forced inspiration, inhaled inspiration. Yes, right. Right. Next one. So TRV completed and next one IRV completed. Then we will go to the, so the very important, that is ERV, expiratory, right? So first one is the TV and second one is the IRV, inspiratory reserve value. Now ERV, expiratory reserve value. So here, opposite to the IRV, additional volume of air that can be exhaled during the forced expiration. The very important, IRV and ERV both are reserve, both are reverse. Okay, right? Additional volume of air that can be exhaled during the forced expiration, right? 1,000 to 1,100 ml. So this is the volume of IRV. Okay, right? Whereas this is the volume of ERV. Whereas IRV, the additional volume of air that can be inhaled during the forced inspiration, but here exhaled during the forced expiration. And next one, the very important residual volume, RV, right? So the volume of air remaining means storing, remaining in the lungs after forcible expiration. After forcible expiration, 1,100 to 1,200 ml, this volume of the RV, right? Residual volume, the volume of air remaining, storing in the lungs after forcible expiration, that is called RV, right? Residual value. Residual volume. And next ones are here, the volumes are completed. Number one is the TV and number two is the IRV and number four is the ERV and next one is the, sir, next one, the most important, right? RV, residual value, right? So here, the next one, the capacities. Next one, the capacities. First one is the inspiratory capacity. So the total volume of air that can be inhaled after normal expiration. The total volume of air that can be inhaled after normal expiration, 3,000 to 3,500 ml. So here, this is the most important. IC is equal to TV plus IRV. TV plus IRV. And next one, sir, fundamental residual capacity, FRC. This is the most important. So the volume of air remaining in the lungs after normal expiration. Here, normal expiration. I see also normal expiration. Yes or no? But here, so here the very important, the volume of air remaining Okay, remaining in the lungs after normal expiration. So FRC is equal to ERV plus RV. ERV plus RV. So this is the very important, right? And next one, vital capacity. Two marks question, very important, sir. Vital capacity, VC, right? The maximum volume of air that can be breathed in after forced expiration. Forced expiration. Sir, here, this is the normal expiration. And this is the normal expiration. But here, forced expiration, right? So here VC is equal to TV plus IRV plus ERV, right? TV plus IRV plus ERV. So here now the last one, the total lungs capacity, the total lungs capacity, the total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of the forced inspiration, right? A forced inspiration, the very important. So the total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of forced inspiration, sir, TLC is equal to VC plus RV, right? Or another one you write, sir, TLC is equal to IRV plus ERV plus TV plus RV. Okay, then you write both are right, same, no problem at all. Right, TLC is equal to VC plus RV, right? Residual value. And next one, vital capacity. Okay, so this is about the TLC, total lungs capacities. Sir, this is the most important 4 marks question for the examination. The very important, right? The respiratory volumes and respiratory capacities are both are very important for the examination, and mechanism of breathing also very important. 4 marks questions these are. And so this is the another one, the very important regulation of the regulation of respiratory system, the very important side heading, and 4 marks question, very important in the IPE level. Sir, regulation, sir, what is regulation of respiratory system? Regulation, nothing but the control of the inspiration and expiration, the control of the regulating, yes or no, the regulating of inspiratory and expiratory. Yes or no? So the rhythm of inspiration and expiration, right? The controlling the rhythm of inspiration and expiration, that is called regulation. Understand? So the regulation of respiratory system, the 4 marks question, very important. Yes. So listen carefully. But here, sir, how the regulation is takes place inside the lungs, inside the respiratory system, inside the body. Right? So here in the human beings have a significant ability to maintain, right? Maintain and moderate. So this is the very important word, moderate the respiratory rhythm to suit the demands of the body tissues. Okay. So this is the very important term. Human beings have a significant ability to maintain and moderate the respiratory rhythm. Moderate means change according to the situation. So the inspiration and the inspiration and expiration are both are changed. Okay, due to the circumstances inside the cells. Yes or no? So that is called moderate. So the demands of the body tissues, right? So there is a regulation is there. This is done by neural system. This is done by the system, neural system. Neural coordination is there. So in that, in the regulation of respiratory system, so there are the very important. There are four are important. The number one is the RRC. Sir, what are the RRC? What is RRC? Respiratory Rhythmic Center. So in the regulation, the RRC or respiratory rhythmic center it is present in the medulla region of brain. So primarily responsible for this regulation. A very important point. Okay, sir, what is RRC? RRC is a RRC, the regulation of the respiratory system. The RRC plays a very important role. How means, sir, here the respiratory rhythmic center primarily responsible for the regulation. Primarily, yes, you understand, primarily regulation for the primarily responsible for the regulation. And second one that is peace. There are pneumotaxic center present in the pons of brainstem. So here RRC present in medulla region of brain, but the PC pneumotaxic center present in the pons of brainstem. It can moderate, sir, here this is the most important word, moderate function of RRC. Neural signal from this center can reduce, this is the most important line, reduce the duration of inspiration and their alter by respiratory rate. So which is reduce the inspiration, which is reduce the duration of inspiration. Sir, the PC means pneumotaxic center. Reduce, it can reduce the duration of inspiration and their alter the respiratory rate. So both are involved in the regulation of respiratory system. And next one, so this is the CSA. What is CSA? RRC means respiratory rhythmic center, and PC means pneumotaxic center, right? Sir, but here this is the CSA, chemosensitive area. Chemosensitive area. Sir, the RRC present in the medulla of the brain. Sir, PC present in the right on the pons of the brainstem. But here the CSA adjacent to the RRC. Highly sensitive to carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. When these are increased, when these are increased in the blood, then what happen? Automatically the CSA activate this center and send signal to the RRC, make necessary adjustments for the elimination of these substances. What are the substances? Carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. So this is the very important, sir. So the CSA is adjacent to the RRC, highly sensitive to the carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. So when the carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions percentage is high in the blood, then what happened? Then so the CSA is activated and it is sending a signal to the RRC. So the RRC take responsibility, right, for the necessary action to the adjustment. Right, then what happened for the elimination of these substances? Suppose the CSA is failure, CSA is failure. It is not activate. When even though the blood in the blood the CO2, even though in the blood the CO2 and hydrogen ions are increased, the percentage is increased inside the blood. Even though the CSA is not activated, is not send the signal to the RRC, then what happens? RRC also is not reactive. So that what happens? So the necessary adjustments are very important. Yes or no? So whenever the CSA is not responded, it's not activated, this is failure, then what happens? Sir, there is another system is there, right? Aortic arc and next one carotid artery, right? So this is the alternative arrangement. So it has the receptors. So these has the receptors. So these are recognized. So the receptors are present in the aortic arc and next one carotid artery. So these receptors are recognized these changes in the CO2 and H plus ions concentration in the blood and send the signal to the RRC and PC also for the necessary action. So in this way, the regulation of a respiratory system takes place inside the body of the human beings. Okay, so what are these, or what are the factors are involved in the regulation of respiratory systems? Number one is the RRC, and number two is the PC, and number three is the CSA, number four is the aortic arca, and next one carotid artery. Yes, are you understand? So this is the most important for the 4 marks question in the IPE. Yes, and next one. So these are the very important disorders of the respiratory system. Disorders of the respiratory system, right? So number one is the disorders of the respiratory system. So number one is the asthma. Number one is the asthma, right? So this is the very important for the NEET also, right? Asthma. To 4 marks question, very, very important for the IPE in this chapter, the breathing and exchange of gases. The disorders of the respiratory system. Then a number of times they are given, right? Asthma. So difficulty in breathing caused due to inflammation, the very important, caused due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Okay, so the bronchi and the bronchioles, already you know the trachea is divides into two, the primary bronchs, right, left and right. The left and right primary bronchs are divided into right bronchioles. So here the bronchi and bronchioles inflammation, the very important point, underline this point, inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Then what happened? Difficulty in breathing, right? So difficulty in breathing caused due to the inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. That is exactly asthma. Symptoms. What are the symptoms here? Coughing and wheezing. Right? Allergen causes release of histamine. Causes constriction of constriction of bronchi. Right? Constriction of bronchi, not construction. Constriction of bronchi. So the difficulty in breathing caused due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Right? Keep in mind, sir, inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles, that is asthma. Right? And the second one, that is emphysema. So this is the very, very important emphysema. So it is a chronic disorder. It is a chronic disorder. Alveolar walls damaged. But here inflammation of bronchi and bronchial. But here alveolar walls are damaged and collapse the respiratory surface area. Right? So already you know the alveolar walls are damaged and collapsing, you know. Then what happened? The respiratory surface or area decreased. The respiratory surface area is decreased. So exchange of gases rate is decreased. Understand? Right? Example, tobacco, smoking. Sir, why the smoking is injurious to health? Why they are written like this? Means on the cigarette box, you know. So why they are written like this? Why they are right? Why they are printed? The smoking is injurious to health. Means, sir, here the alveolar walls are damaged and collapsed. Respiratory surface area decreased. Then what happened? The exchange of gases rate is decreased. Yes or no? So, right, that is, so this is the emphysema. Example, tobacco, right, smoking. Smoking is the very, very important point of smoking, right? Okay, asthma completed, and next one, emphysema completed. And next one, bronchitis, the very important bronchitis. Okay, inflammation of bronchi results in swelling of mucus lining of bronchi. Okay, so increased mucus production and decreased in the diameter. So here this is the very important inflammation of bronchi results in swelling of mucus lining of bronchi, right? Okay, and increased the mucus production and decreased in the diameter of bronchi, diameter of bronchi. Yes, diameter of bronchi. Symptoms: cough with a thick sputum. Yes, So this is about the bronchitis. First one is the asthma, and second one is the emphysema, and third one is the bronchitis. So the inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles, alveolar walls are damaged, right? And next one, inflammation of bronchi, swelling of mucus lining bronchi, increased mucus production and decreased in the diameter. This is the very important. Decreased in the diameter of bronchi. Yes, that is about the bronchitis. And next one, so the pneumonia, right? The pneumonia. So pneumonia is very important. Pneumonia, yes. Pneumonia, infection of lungs caused by, right? Pneumonia, infection of lungs caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae. So Streptococcus pneumoniae is the bacteria. Yes, and also by the certain fungi and mycoplasmas. Right? Symptoms: inflammation of lungs, accumulation of mucus in alveoli, and impaired exchange of gases. Impaired, right? Accumulation of mucus in alveoli and impaired exchange of gases, leading to death if untreated. So here the very important word you observe here, right? Keep in mind the pneumonia, infection of lungs caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae, right? So here this is the very important sir, the asthma and sir, here the asthma, emphysema, bronchitis and pneumonia, sir, these are the disorders. Keep in mind, disorders of the respiratory system. To write 4 marks question, very important. And next one, sir, this is the occupational respiratory disorders. Okay, occupational respiratory disorder. So this is also 4 marks question, right? Very important. Okay, and asbestosis and silicosis, siderosis and black lung disease. So these are and not only 4 marks, they are given in the 2 marks question also, right? What is asbestosis and silicosis? They are given in the 2 marks question, right? In the IPE level, right? Asbestosis. So due to harmful exposure to asbestos dust, sir, due to harmful exposure to asbestos dust, right? That is called asbestosis. And silicosis. And silicosis. What is silicosis? Silica. Due to long-term exposure of silica dust. That is called silicosis. Occupational respiratory disorders. So silicosis due to long-term exposure of silica dust. And siderosis, the very important deposition of inhaled iron particles in tissues. Sir, iron particles is siderosis. Silicosis means silica. Siderosis means iron, deposition of inhaled iron particles. Yes or no? Right. So here, next one, the very important black lung disease due to inhalation of coal dust. Due to inhalation of coal dust. So these are the 4, the very important. So sir, the respiratory disorders. The respiratory disorders is the number 1 is the asthma, emphysema, bronchitis, and pneumonia. So there are 4. And next one, occupational respiratory disorders also 4. Number 1 is the asbestosis, and number 2 is the silicosis, and number 2 is the siderosis, and number 4, the very important black lung disease. Sir, what is siderosis? What is siderosis? Sir, the deposition, due to the deposition of inhaled iron particles into the tissues, that is called siderosis. Okay, the black lung disease due to the inflammation, due to the inhalation of coal dust, that is a black lung disease. Black lung disease. Okay. So today we are discussing about the mechanism of breathing, and next ones are the respiratory volumes and respiratory capacities, and next one respiratory disorders and occupational respiratory disorders. So these are the very important for the IPE level. And IPE level. So here, whenever you observe these, the respiratory volumes and capacities, the respiratory volumes and capacities. So TV and IRV, TV 500 ml and next 2500 to 2000 ml, and ERV 1000 to 1100, IR next RV 1100 to 1200, IC 3000 to 1500 ml. So here these are very important capacities. IC is equal to TV plus IRV, and FRC is equal to RV plus ERV, and VC is equal to TV plus IRV plus ERV. Right? And next one, sir, this is the TLC, not TC, TLC, total lungs capacity. Okay, TV plus IRV plus ERV plus RV. So this is these are the very important for the examination, that is need, right? Respiratory volumes and capacities. Okay, so right, please concentrate on this. So the exchange of gases, the very important, this is the very important for the examination, the exchange of gases. Okay. And so in the exchange of gases means the alveoli are the primary sites. Okay. How the exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. So the alveoli covered by the simple squamous epithelium. So this is a thin, right? It is a thin layer. So right, so the thin, so the alveoli covered by the simple squamous epithelium. Yes, this is the thin layer. So then what happened? So there is an exchange between the carbon dioxide and oxygen between the blood and the lungs. So exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. So the exchange of gases are also occurs between the blood and tissue also. Okay. So here this is the, so the oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged. The oxygen and carbon dioxide, are exchanged in these sites, means between the alveoli and between the lungs and alveoli and blood and tissues, right? So in these places, the exchange of gases takes place. So here the very important, so the exchange of gases takes place by the simple diffusion. The very important simple, right? A simple diffusion, right? A simple diffusion, right? The very important. Sir, what is diffusion? What is diffusion? Diffusion nothing but the right, diffusion nothing but molecules are right, moved from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. That is called diffusion method. So the right, so it is based on the gradient, concentration gradient. It is based on the concentration gradient. Okay, right. Thank you for your cooperation.